it's Jack and Sam back again with more wrestling news as promised. Sam, last time we talked about Big E winning the big one and it's all fun.
Big boy, big belt.
Absolutely. This time we're going to talk about a botch instead. So there we go. Oh, it's wonderful stuff. Also some other big news stories as well. So let's get straight to the headlines. First of all, yes, a Raw match finish was majorly botched this week. Elsewhere, John Cena has been replaced by a big current star on the Broken Skull sessions. And finally, released NXT stars sign with new promotions. So yes, indeed, not only was there a huge monumental title change on last night's Raw, but there was a huge monumental botch as well. It was the finish of Nikki ASH versus Tamina, and everything went wrong.
Yeah.
I'll try and recap everything that went wrong here. Slightly reminiscent for me of the time that Hardcore Holly and Crash Holly had a weird finish at WrestleMania one year. I think it was WrestleMania with the jar of candy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so Nikki Cross, ASH, excuse me, hit a tornado DDT for the 3 count, but Tamina appeared to kick out in time, and then the ref still counted 3 and called for the bell. Then it just seems like everybody got everything wrong. Obviously, they would have had Tamina's music queued up. Yeah. So despite Nikki apparently winning the match, despite Tamina kicking out, Tamina's music played anyway. Yeah. And she was announced as well. I can sort of understand the music, but to announce her as the winner of the match, I'm like, ooh. Just a bit of a
maybe it's like I'm just too afraid to do what I'm not, like if Vince said that I've got to say she's won it.
Maybe. Nikki was then beaten down after the match. On the YouTube highlights of this, quite wisely probably, WWE have actually edited the finish out.
Right.
And it just goes straight to the beatdown, so the desired effect is still there.
Yeah.
But yeah, following
These things happen though, right?
They do.
It's awkward, and especially probably shouldn't have gone as far as the announcing, but you know, the too hot on the button with the theme maybe, and just
yeah, possibly.
I hope everybody's okay though.
Yeah, absolutely. After the break, Nikki was acknowledged as the winner by the announcers, who then also reported that she was being tended to by medics following the beatdown to get that over. But yeah, it's one of those ones where you just sort of cringe a bit because you know that it's wrong, and it wasn't in the Thunderdome, of course. It was back in front of this live audience.
And that somebody's probably, something's probably gone wrong to facilitate that change and this kind of cluster happening in front of you. So it's always just awkward and a bit like, but at the same time, I hope everybody's all right.
Well, there has been speculation floating around that this would potentially have been caused by Nikki being hurt at some point during the match and then them switching it up and saying, no, actually, Tamina's got to win now. But then not everybody got the memo, but Nikki was back out later on for a different segment, so if she was hurt, it might have just been a quick little thing, and then
like a momentary issue.
But definitely an embarrassing moment for everybody involved, and as Sam says, hopefully everyone's okay, because it can be mortifying. I once was the timekeeper and rang the bell on a 2 count. The ref counted 3, right?
Ring the bell!
He didn't shout ring, the ref counted 3, and then turned. And I just heard the 3, and I didn't wait for the referee signal. But he counted 3. The crowd all went, "Way!" And I went, "All right." And then he was like, "No."
I just said that's the referee hamming it up there.
Well, then,
really trying to savour his moment for the big point, and you were like, "Absolutely not."
Not to name any names or anything, but the ref then backstage was like, "No, we need to both apologise to them. We need to share the blame." And so I was like, "Well, fair enough. Like I did." But you also counted 3.
No,
it was my fault too.
Imagine you just sat there like.
It was my fault too. I'm
so sorry.
No, it was my fault as well. Anyway, the feeling when you've done that with a live crowd there, I was just like,
I can imagine it was like,
my God. I'm glad I was like out of sight in gorilla, as we say. Elsewhere, we have some news from outside of WWE as PCO, former Ring of Honor World Champion PCO, and former Attitude Era star as well. PCO, has apparently given his notice to Ring of Honor that he will not be renewing his contract when it expires. And then last year, apparently, PCO revealed in an interview that his deal expires on December 1st of this year. So he's got a couple more months left in the company, a few more months.
It'd be a shame if PCO is to step away from wrestling. Obviously, he's getting on, so hopefully, he is going to continue. I think he'd be a great get for somebody like Impact, and I know he's a bit older and he shouldn't be doing some of the things that he is doing, which are just crazy. But at the same time, nobody could have predicted that Pierre Carl Ouellet would end up that famous as PCO at this stage in life.
Yeah.
So I think he'd be a huge get for somebody like Impact or stay at Ring of Honor. Obviously, a bit more of a reduced schedule.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him just fade away.
No.
He's just got really interested.
No, same. I remember listening to, I think it might have been Joey Janela on Austin's podcast, talking about, he was kind of just teaching him indie stuff that was going on at the minute and saying, like, you know PCO? And Austin's like, yeah. And he's like, he's the biggest thing in indie wrestling right now. And Austin's like, what? he just can't believe it.
The pirate?
Yeah. Briefly, let's jump back to. But yeah, hopefully, if PCO is stepping away, that's his own decision, and it's it's so that he can preserve his health a bit more. I hope so.
Of course.
But back to this, because obviously SmackDown saw a big ratings increase this week for many different reasons. I suppose it was quite a significant episode. It was a big one in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
A significant time of year for New York City, of course. Brock Lesnar on the show as well. Becky Lynch making an appearance as well. All the big guns.
Yeah, and they always kind of draw that interest around MSG because with it being their spiritual home, you always think, oh, they might do something special. And they really do try to pull it out of the bag. And it looks like it served them very well this time.
It also didn't just feature big appearances, but a big match as well, the rematch between Edge and Seth Rollins. And yeah, the result of this was a big jump in the ratings, averaging 2.38 million views on Fox, up from 2.2 million viewers the week before. So a big jump. And apparently it was also the most watched episode of SmackDown since the January 22nd edition. So it'll probably, I think, be its most watched episode of the year.
Yeah, there's not really, unless Survivor Series somehow really busted out the park this year, I think this is probably, the last big statement show.
Yeah. I'd guess so as well. Apparently another big one this year was the July 17th SmackDown, which was the first show back with fans, but this topped even that. So I mean, it was a big one.
Oh, awesome.
And I think generally, apart from certain things like, as we've already talked about in previous videos and stuff, I mean, I haven't, but other presenters have. Zelina Vega being left off the show, that was sad.
It was just so awkward.
But apart from that, I think it was a strong show, to be honest.
Yeah, I just think they could have maybe found the time.
Oh, 100%.
For Zelina Vega.
Yeah, they definitely should have done. But apart from that, it seemed like a really strong show, and the ratings certainly reflect it. Elsewhere, we have former NXT stars joining other promotions. Two separate stories here, actually. First of all, Bobby Fish, formerly of the Undisputed Era, has joined MLW and is set to debut, and I hope this isn't a typo, I hope it is actually called this, but I'm not too sure, in the Opera Cup?
Ooh,
the Opera Cup tournament,
Opera Cup,
which begins on October 2nd. Well, good for Bobby Fish. He was, of course, released back in the beginning of August.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully that's a good place for him.
I've still, one day, I still want one last Red Dragon reunion. Just one more. Just one more. But I love Bobby Fish. I think MLW is a great fit for him. I think this is solid.
Fair play. The other superstar in question, or former superstar, it's Mercedes Martinez.
Yay!
Which is hardly surprising given how respected she is on the independent scene.
Yeah.
She's been one of the key figures of indie women's wrestling in North America for, a long time before she was in WWE.
Yeah.
And she apparently has been added to Impact Wrestling events. First of all, Impact is bringing back the Knockouts Knockdown event, and why not, with their very strong women's roster. Gail Kim announced that the all-women's event will return on October 9th and will stream on Impact Plus. The matches will be filmed on Friday, Saturday and Sunday at the Impact Wrestling tapings. And also she then announced, Gail Kim this is, that yes, Mercedes Martinez will compete at the show. She was also released by WWE last month, and I think that could be a very popular decision indeed.
I think this is huge. Mercedes Martinez, as you said, one of the biggest names in North American women's wrestling. I just think that Impact are kind of, it feels like they're about to go and show WWE up all over again. With the women's roster, they quietly just let it build and build and build, and then you realise very quickly there's something for everybody in AEW and Impact's women's roster, and the way in which they are able to almost book everybody nicely. Everybody seems to have something, even a small bit of something, to go off story-wise.
I think as well with, now that Becky Lynch is back, it might change, but there were reports of WWE's women's roster wanting Becky to be back soon so the booking would improve. Because it all really went downhill after she went off to have her child. I think that in Impact, they've often, their women's division or their Knockouts division has thrived when WWE's women's division has been in for criticism.
Yes.
So back in the era before the women's revolution and all that sort of thing, people would turn to Impact for good women's wrestling. You had the likes of Awesome Kong and stuff. So I think that you could be onto something there.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see. Also, it's a good look for them in terms of like making room for the women on the show, as they should, when they and also the NWA have done women's only shows.
Yes.
And WWE still for some reason are kind of refusing to do a second Evolution.
Yeah, even though they've kind of allowed talent to talk about it. It doesn't seem like they've told talent don't be talking about Evolution 2. And they brought it up. Mickey James was talking about it till she was blue in the face after leaving the company, that, you know, it just didn't feel like they cared or they were interested. And it's just such a bad look for them after they've literally just sat there and you know, banged on for so long about women's evolution and women's revolution and all this, and now it's just slowly slipping back into the dark ages.
It is very strange. Anyway, also on that show, Gail Kim announced that the event will feature the Daphne Memorial Monsters Ball match as a tribute to the late Daphne, which of course is very, very important, very kind of a nice thing to do, certainly.
Yes, for sure.
And also that the Impact Knockouts champion, which is still Deonna Purrazzo, will defend her title against a mystery competitor, and that Lady Frost, Renee Michelle, and former knockout of the year, Christy Hemme, will also be part of the event.
Hemme.
Wow.
That's a name I've not seen in ages.
And finally, as well, John Cena was scheduled to appear on the new Broken Skull sessions, but we don't quite know why. But he will not be appearing on the show at the end of the month, which I think is going on after Extreme Rules. But
it's because Vince found out he did a swear in a film. I bet.
But instead, he's being replaced by a big modern-day WWE superstar who's never been on the Broken Skull sessions, as far as I'm aware. Seth Rollins, which is good. That's a good one.
He's going to talk about CrossFit for so long.
I'll be interested to know, actually, how indie he goes, because Austin doesn't really care. He likes to delve into the pre-WWE stuff.
And Vince just lets him, and it just kind of goes and goes and goes. So,
true.
Yeah.
I wonder how much he'll be allowed to get away with. But there was a little preview for this where Seth, very much in character, presents Austin with his own jacket, and it's all like a suit jacket. It's really awful. He's like, "I got this for you." He's really having up the laugh and stuff, and Austin's just like, "Okay, yeah,
I hope
thank
it's
you."
one of the Flavor Town jackets.
It's not. It's like a landscape painted. It's like it's all blue at the top and then green at the bottom. And he says Ron tells him it's inspired by the beautiful surroundings of your ranch here, and Austin's like, "Thank you." Cheers. I also think it's too big for him.
Right.
That might
so
just
it
be in
makes
my
Austin
head.
look like
that
a little boy.
Yeah, but that might just be in my head. I'm not sure. I think because Rollins wears them quite tight, whereas Austin's an American and they like to wear baggier suits. I don't know.
Maybe it's the era thing. You remember back Evolution wearing suits that were 9 sizes too big?
You couldn't see their feet.
Oh,
they
literally look like they were, you know, first day in court.
Or like when a little kid gets into his dad's wardrobe and just tries Oh dear me. Well, there we have it, everybody. Thank you very much for watching this news video. Do leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Stay safe out there, stay positive, and we'll see you very soon.